Hi everybody, this is a new series of videos that we're going to be doing here regarding conditional formatting. And conditional formatting is quite simply formatting your worksheet, formatting different cells, ranges of cells based on some sort of a condition being met. As you can see, we have quite a few videos on this. You might not think that we could ever come up with this many for just conditional formatting, but conditional formatting is actually a major tool in this program, and it can be used to really make things stand out in your worksheet, to emphasize various data based on some sort of a condition or conditions being met. So let's take a look at this first set of data here. We have numbers that are ranging pretty much between maybe 10,000 and roughly 10,000 and about maybe 50 or 60,000. What I want to do here is make any data, any of the cells that contain, let's say, a value greater than 40,000, I'd like to have that cell turn green. And what's really nice about conditional formatting is that it's always active. In other words, if the data later on changes to another value for some reason in certain cells, then the conditional format that was originally on there might change because now it's outside of that range or whatever, right? So the first thing we need to do to make this happen is we'll go over here and we'll select the range of cells that we want to possibly have this conditional formatting applied to. So we do that first. Then the next thing, we go over into the Home tab, click on to Conditional Formatting, and go to the Highlight Cells Rules. And we have an item on here called Greater Than. So we click on a Greater Than. We go over here and we type in, let's say, 40,000. So anything greater than 40,000, we want that to turn green. So we go over here. We click on a little drop down and we pick green fill. Just like that. Hit OK, and there we go. Now, just to give you an idea of how this works, if let's say later on, maybe you find out that Beavis's number here for January was wrong. It was actually, let's say, 47,000. We type in 47,000, hit the Enter key, and it turns green. That's pretty cool. All right, now let's say we're going to go on the other side and we want any of the numbers or any of the cells that have numbers that are less than 20,000, we want those to turn red. So what we'll do is we'll kind of select that same area, conditional formatting, highlight cells, less than. And it's already, well, we have to set this number here, but we'll type in 20,000, just like that. And it's already set for red, so we'll just go ahead and hit OK. And there we go. Not bad. So when you're looking at this, pretty much anything that's greater than or greater than or equal to 20,000 and less than 40,000 would be the non-formatted area. Now, what we could do is we could actually format that in-between area as well and maybe give it a certain color. So here's how we'll do that. We'll go back and we'll select the same range. Go back to conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, and we'll go with the between. And in this case, we'll type in maybe 20,000 for the low end. And over here, this will be 40,000. And we'll tell it that we want that range area to be maybe yellow. And we'll go ahead and hit OK. And that's it. So what you're seeing here is a coloring of these different ranges. So when somebody glances at it, they can kind of see where maybe the good numbers are green, where the bad numbers are red, and then where the somewhere in between okay numbers are, those would be in yellow. So you kind of set up whatever range you want to have in there to make that determination between the three types. So let's say that we want to kind of keep that coloring, but you'll probably notice too that the number text itself is of that same color, which is fine. but we decide that maybe we'd like that to be black. So we want all the text in there to be black, but we still want the background to be the color that you see there. Now we can't just go in there and select a bunch of numbers and go back up here and tell it we want that to be black. We do that, nothing happens. And the reason for it is that the coloring that we picked each time was a certain style of coloring. In other words, we had the cell background being one thing and then the text being another. So what we have to do is actually change the style of the conditional formatting so that it's black. And we have to do that for all three of these conditional formatting rules, as we call them. We have to do them for all three of those. So the way we would do this is you could just click anywhere in the data that you had formatted. You don't have to reselect everything. You can then go back to conditional formatting and go down to where it says manage rules. And click onto that. So now what we want to do is go to each one of these rules that we have here and change it so where the text is black. So we'll do a double click on the first one here, just like that. And we'll go over here to the format. And in the font area here with the color, you can see how this is the kind of like the rusty color there. We'll click onto that, make it black, hit OK, hit OK. All right. Now you'll see how that changed there. Now we'll do the same thing for this one here. We'll double click that, go to format, change that color now to black as well, hit OK. And then the last one here, we'll double click that, format, change the color there, hit OK, and there we go. All right, so now when I hit OK, finally here, then you'll see everything all turn black. Now, if you further decide that maybe the yellow that's in there is maybe a little bit too dark, and we kind of maybe want to lighten it up a little bit, be anywhere in the data, click on the conditional formatting, go back down to your manage rules. We'll go here to the yellow one here. We'll double click that. We'll go back to format, and we'll go over into the fill area, which is now set with this color here. And what we can do is we can just go to maybe more colors. You can actually see in this custom how they've got sort of a custom color there. Maybe, maybe not, depends, but it's that color as well. But in here, what we can do is we can just take this guy here and just bring it up a little bit, and that will kind of change the saturation a little bit, so you can kind of see how it changed here a little bit. Then we go ahead and hit OK. Hit OK. Now, when I hit OK, watch the coloring here change. Oh, one more. There we go. Now, on the other hand, if you decide that, well, maybe not even having any kind of formatting, in other words, just leave it white for the yellow areas, for the in-between areas, what would we do there? Well, we could just go ahead and just delete the conditional format. So we'll just go back into conditional formatting, go to the manage rules, click on the rule, this one right here, hit delete, hit OK. And there we go. Now, another kind of conditional formatting we can look at is that involves text. So before we were kind of working with the values, and that was kind of determining where and when the coloring would go in. But if you look at something like this over in column P, we have one of three different items that are in each of the cells. We have, as far as being a vested partner in the sales firm here. Now, the three items there are whether or not they're opted in. Yes, they are. Did they opt in? No, they didn't. Or they're opting to, it's pending. So we want each of those three to be a different background color, let's say. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll select the area like this. Go back into the Home tab and go to your conditional formatting. Highlight cell rules, and then what we'll do here is we're going to go with this text that contains. Now we click onto that, and it comes up with the first one, which is the opt for opt-in yes, all right? And it's set for whatever coloring here. Now, what we're going to do here is we'll click onto that, all right? And they've got a number of different colors we can go here. Now, what I'm going to do in this situation is we're going to go with the custom, all right? So we're going to go down here where it says custom format, all right? That brings us out to here. And we're going to say that the yes, we want that to be kind of like this darker gray here. So we'll click onto that one, all right? And we'll go over to the font, and we'll maybe I think we'll keep it black, but so we'll just leave it automatic there. So then we'll go ahead and hit OK, and there it is. All right, now we go ahead and hit OK again, and now that puts it in permanently. Now, while it's still selected, go back and we're going to do the next one. So we'll do conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, and then back down to text that contains. Now in this case, we want this to be for the no. So we'll say for the no, just kind of change that. And you'll see those selected, they are automatically changed to red. We're going to go and hit the little drop down, custom format, go back to the fill, and on the nose, we want that to be really light, so maybe we'll go with this one here. Okay, so we got that. We go and hit OK, and there we go. And then the pending, that'll kind of be like the in-between color here. We'll go back into conditional formatting again. Oop. Highlight cell rules. Go back down here to text that contains. And we'll make that the P, all right? Hit the drop-down arrow, custom format, and we'll go with this one here. Hit OK, and there we go. Before we go on, you've probably noticed that there's these little green wedges up in the corner of column Q's numbers here. And that's because, well, I'll just show you here. If you click onto there, hit this little smart tag here, it tells you that the formula omits adjacent cells. What it's trying to tell us is that when we add up this row, for the first row here, this is actually a number, but it's not a number that we want to include in our total, and therefore it thinks that we want to, it thinks we made a mistake by not including that, and that's the problem. So what you can do is you can select all the cells, all the way to the bottom here, go back to that little tag there, and tell it just to ignore it, because we don't find that to be a problem. So ignore error, and that's it. All right. Now speaking of these IDs that we have along the side here, what's happened is that we've got some duplicates, and what we want to do is be able to show where those duplicates are. In other words, if you look at this one, Emil has a 4057, so does Tonto, all right? So does Chip, all right? So what we want to do is use conditional formatting to just highlight those areas that are duplicated, and then we can go back in there and change the number to the proper ID number. This might seem kind of lame, because I think most people with that few numbers could probably look at it and try to figure out which ones are duplicates and go to those and change the number, all right? But I just want to show you the tool that we have that will bring those duplicate entries out, and they can more easily identify them and make changes. So what we do is we kind of select the range. We go back to go back to conditional formatting here, highlight cell rules, all right, and then down towards the bottom here we have something called duplicate value. So we click onto that, and we can just leave it red. I'll tell you what, we'll change it to, we'll give it a different color here. We'll go with maybe an orange look there, okay? So hit OK, and there it is. So then once you've done that, then you can say, oh, okay, oh yeah, this one here, Emil, the 4057, that should be 3057. So we'll type in 3057, 57 instead. Hit the enter key, and then that will turn off. So now we know that there's no other number or no other cell in this range that has that same number. And you can just do that for the rest of them. Not, our thing that we're doing right now, I'm not going to worry too much about that. I just wanted to have that to show you how that feature worked. Okay, so let's move on a little bit. Let's go down to the next set of numbers that we have here. Pretty much the same thing, but what you'll notice is that we've got a number of cells in here that are either with a little hyphen, and that just means that's a 0. So if we click on that cell, you can see it's a 0, right? And we also have just blank cells, ones that don't have anything in them. Now, what we want to do is set up the conditional formatting to highlight those cells where they are blank. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the conditional formatting tool to actually color in those cells that are blank. Not where they're equal to 0, because technically everything is 0. I mean, any of the blanks. So whether it's blank or whether it's a hyphen, which is really a 0, they're still considered to be 0. All right. So what we want to do instead is have it ferret out those cells that have nothing in them, that are actually blank. Okay. And that's going to be different from a cell that has a 0 in it. See? So the way we do this is we select the area, and you're doing this too, because this might be a rather large worksheet and you want to maybe pass this on to somebody who's going to be filling in the numbers, and you want to make sure that they go to the proper areas and that they don't think about changing, you know, the ones that have zeros, because those in fact are truly 0. In other words, Chlora sold nothing in April. Okay, so we want to put a 0 in there. Whereas with April for Beavis, we don't have anything in there because we didn't have the number at the time. So that's what we're expecting them to fill in. So we just want to make sure that they know which ones need to be changed. So what we do is we select the area, just like that. Go back to conditional formatting. Go to our highlight cell rules. But the problem is that there's nothing in here that has to do or deals with blanks. So what we're going to have to do is create like a custom conditional format. So what we do is we go down to where it says more rules. This one right here. This comes up and it has format only cells that contain, all right, which is what we want. But what? Well, what's that going to be? Well, if you click on this little drop down arrow here, look at this. We have it where it says blanks. All right. So format only those cells that what? Are blank. Great. Now what are we going to format it as? We click on the format here. Find a color. Maybe we want to go with green, maybe a light green, something like that. We go ahead and hit OK. And there we go. And you'll notice how the cells with zeros are not set that way. So if I go back to maybe this cell here, which is actually a 0, and I delete that, get rid of it, well, then now it turns green. Whereas on the flip side, if I've got maybe a blank, and now I go ahead and fill it in with a new number, there it goes. So pretty slick. Now another area we want to look at is column P with the hired dates. These are the dates that these reps were hired. And what I like to do is have it format all the dates that are after a certain date. So let's just say that I want to highlight all of the cells, you know, in column P, this range right here, where the higher date was after, let's say, January 1st, 2010. All right, so what we'll do is we'll get that area selected, and then we go back and hit conditional formatting. Go to our highlight cell rules, and then go to more rules. Then we just go down to here. So it's format cells that contain, which we want. And then over here, the cell value is greater than, and then we have to just type in the date over here. Now, I'm thinking maybe we'll go a little bit further out instead of just 20 times. I think what we'll do is we'll do 1/1/2012. We'll do that. And what do we want it to look like? Well, we'll go to Format. We go back over into the fill area here. And let's say maybe we'll go with, let's see, we used green before, so maybe yellow, something like that. Except that matches the top there, so we'll do blue. We got blue, all right? And then we'll go ahead and hit OK. There it is. And then hit OK again, and there we go. Now, if we want to modify that, all you have to do is just be somewhere in there. Go back to your conditional formatting, manage rules. There it is. And we double click it. Now, what happens in this case, it converts the date into the serial number. So that's basically 40,000. So that the date of 1/1 of, I think we said 2012, that is approximately 40,909 days since January 1st, 1900. Pretty wild. Anyway, so what we'll do is we'll say, we're going to change it now, so we can just go in there. So we don't have to worry about typing in the number. We just type in the date. So we'll go in this case with 1/1/2015 this time, right? Do that, and we'll leave the formatting alone. So we'll hit OK, and there we go. So that's pretty cool. Now for our last set of data that we have here, on the bottom here, this is all of our reps over on the side there, along with their ID numbers and all that. But the big thing are the dates that you see in here, and what that is the date that they're expecting to take each of these exams. All right, so you'll see all the dates in there, and they're all in the year 2020 or 2014 in this case. Now, the way I've got the data set up though, it's by month and day that you see there. Not any big deal. Now, what I like to do though is try to get a handle on when I can expect certain of reps here taking the different tests. So the first thing I want to do is I want to know, and I want to be able to visually see it very easily, all of the dates that are this month. In other words, I want to know out of all these which dates are for the current month, all right, whatever month I happen to be in. So currently we're in the second month of 2019, and I just want to know what tests are going to be taken and by who or whom this month. So what we'll do first of all is we'll select all of the area here and go back over to conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, and for the date occurring. And you've got a number of different settings that you can go with. So I'll click on the little drop down there, and I want to choose the one called this month. So I click on this month, and there it goes and highlights all of this month. And I want to be able to keep that. I'll keep that in red as well. So we'll just go ahead now and hit OK. And there's that one. Now, I want to know next the next months. In other words, I want to see all the tests and the reps that are taking those tests for next month. I want to see which ones are those. So while it's still selected here, I'll go back to conditional formatting, go back to highlight cells rules, and then down to date occurring. And this time we'll tell it next month. Let's click on that. Now we'll make that we'll make that one maybe green. So we'll go with the green here. There we go on that one. Hit OK, and there we go. All right, now the next thing I want to do is format those cells that have dates in them that are before today, meaning they've already been taken, hopefully, right? So I want to see what those are. I want to make those yellow, all right? Now, how do we do that? Well, if we go back into conditional formatting, go back down to our highlight cell rules, go to the more rules. All right. Let me back up here. If you look in here, if we did with the a date occurring, all right, like we did before, we really don't have anything in here that says before today. It has in there yesterday. It has in there maybe last week, last month, all right? But I want to see everything. Now, I mean, last month might work for the most part, but I want to see everything before today, and it might, some of those dates might be before or might be after last month, you know what I'm saying? So it might be more than like 30 days back. So what am I going to do here? Well, I'm going to cancel out of here. I'll go back into conditional. I'll go back to here, but I'll go back down to the more rules, all right? And we had done this before, and we had gone and done something like this, but what we're going to do this time is we're going to actually do a formula. Now I have a whole slew of other videos that have to do with you typing in a formula. So going beyond what the program gives you, you can actually put your own formulas in that give you even more capability, all right? And that's what a majority of this video series is about, but I'm going to give you a little taste of it here. So what I need to do is put a formula in here that will basically say, take, you know, the range that we've got here and look for all of those cells that are before today. All right, and so how do we pull that off? Well, here's what you do. In this little slot here, we're gonna start out with an equal, and then we're just going to type in the address of, in this case, D47. Now, the reason why I'm doing that is that D47 is the first cell in our range, okay? So it'll start there, and it'll just kind of work its way all the way out here, okay? So we have to tell it that. And then we say, take that, look at that date, and subtract from it today's date, all right? So we'll just type in today, and we'll just do that. And that represents today. And then less than or equal to 0, just like that. So that formula right there is going to focus on all within all the range that we've got selected there, all of the dates that are less than, well, if you were to take whatever that date is minus today, if that number is less than 0, less than or equal to 0, then that's going to be the target. That'll be a target cell that will be formatted, right? So we just go over here to format, and let's say we want to go with maybe yellow. That might be a little too bright, so what I can do is I can hit the more colors and maybe kind of tone it down a little bit, maybe go with this one here. All right, there we go. Hit OK, there it is. Hit OK, and there we go. So as I look at that, I can see that those are tests that have already been taken, all right? The red are the tests that are going to be taken this month, and the green are the ones that are taken next month. Now, the last thing I want to do is see the tests that will be taken 90 days from now, from today's date, 90 days out, okay? Now to do that, again, we'll go back into conditional formatting, and we can actually kind of bypass this just a little bit by just going down to new rule, just doing that. New rule will take us to the same area. And then what we do is we just click on to use a formula. There we go. And in here, the formula is going to be, again, that first cell address, so equal D47, all right? Greater than or equal to today, right? Plus 90. So it's basically saying what, look at that date, look at that, what's in there, and the rest as well. And if it's greater than or equal to today, plus, or look and see if it's greater than or equal to today's date plus 90 days out, meaning 90 days from now. Okay. And what we want to do in that case is make it orange. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll click on the format here. We'll go to the fill, which we're already at. Pick orange. Looks good. Maybe one for that. And then we'll go ahead and hit OK. And hit OK again, and there we go. So there you have it. So it's a great little panel to look at. Now, of course, what will happen now, when you come in and look at this same worksheet a week from now or a month from now, things will change on here because of the current date changing, and that's part of the formula in all of these. So hopefully, after watching all these different examples that I've shown you here, you'll be able to maybe take some of this and apply it to some of your data that you have, and really go to town with it. But I will tell you that if you take this in conjunction, let's say, with a chart or a graph, then you got the best of all worlds. But this is definitely something that you can use a lot. So